The Crosswise River. By Li Bai. There are people who say the Crosswise River is good. I say the Crosswise River is terrible. The savage wind blows as if it would overturn the Heaven's Gate mountains. The white waves are as high as the high rooms in the temple of Huaquan. The sea tide flowing southward passes Sunyan. From the beginning of things, the Ox Ledge has been more dangerous than the Standing Horse Hill. Those who wish to cross the Crosswise River find evil winds and waves. The misery of that one stretch of water draws out its length to 10,000 li. When the sea demon passes by, a vicious wind curves back. The waves beat open the rock wall of the gate of heaven. Is the 8th month tide bore of Chekiang equal to this? It seems as though the vast, booming waves were part of the mountains, they spurt out snow. Sorrow during a clear autumn. By Li Bai. I climb the hills of Chiu-I-O. I look at the clear streams a long way off. I see distinctly the 3 branches of the Xiang River, I hear the sound of its swift current. The water flows coldly, it is on its way to the lake. The horizontal autumn clouds hide the sky. I go by the bird's path. I calculate the distance to my old home. Oh! I do not know how many thousand li it is from Qing to Wu. It is the hour of the western brightness, of the half-round sun. The dazzle on the island is about to disappear. The smooth lake is brilliantly white, from the moon. Over the lake, the moon is rising. I think of the moment of meeting, the long stretch of time before it. I think of misty yen and gaze at you. The lotus flowers have fallen, oh! The river is the color of autumn. The wind passes, passes. The night is endless, endless. I would go to the end of the dark sea. How eagerly I desire this. I think much of fishing for a leviathan from the island of the cold sea. There is no rod long enough to raise it. I yield to the great waves, and my sorrow is increased. I will return. I will go home. Oh! Even for a little time, one cannot rely upon the world. I long to pick the immortal herbs on the hill of Peng. River Chant. By Li Bai. Figwood oars. A boat of the wood of the sand pear. At either end. Jade flageolets and pipes of gold. Amidships. Jars of delectable wine. And 10,000 pints. Put by. A boatload of singing girls. Following the water ripples. Going. Stopping. Veering. The immortal waited. Then mounted and rode the yellow crane. But he who is the guest of the sea has no such desire. Rather would he be followed by the white gulls. The Tzu and Fu of Chu Ping hang suspended like the sun and moon. The terraces and the pleasure houses of the kings of Chu are empty heaps of earth. I am drunk with wine, with the sweet taste of it. I am overflowed with the joy of it. When I take up my writing brush, I could move the 5 peaks. When I have finished my poem, I laugh aloud in my arrogance. I rise to the country of the immortals which lies in the middle of the sea. If fame followed the ways of the good official, if wealth and rank were long constant, then indeed might the water of the Han River flow northwest. Songs of the Marches. By Li Bai. It is the 5th month. But still the heaven-high hills shine with snow. There are no flowers. For the heart of the earth is yet too chilly. From the center of the camp comes the sound of a flute, playing the snapped willow. No color mists the trees. Not yet have their leaves broken. At dawn, there is the shock and shouting of battle, following the drums and the loud metal gongs. At night, the soldiers sleep, clasping the pommels of their jade-ornamented saddles. They sleep lightly, with their 2-edged swords girt below their loins. so that they may be able in an instant to rush upon the barbarians and destroy them. Horses. Horses. Swift as the three dogs' wind. Whips stinging the clear air like the sharp calling of birds. They ride across the camelback bridge. Over the riverway. They bend the bows, curving them away from the moon which shines behind them. Over their own country of Han. They fasten feathers on their arrows, to destroy the immense arrogance of the foe. Now the regiments are divided and scattered like the five-pointed stars. Sea mist envelopes the deserted camp. The task is accomplished, and the portrait of Ho Piaoyao hangs magnificently in the Lin Pavilion. When autumn burns along the hills, the barbarian hordes mount their horses and pour down from the north. Then, in the country of Han, the heavenly soldiers arise and depart from their homes. The High General divides the tiger tally. Fight, soldiers. Then lie down and rest on the dragon sand. The frontier moon casts the shadows of bows upon the ground. Swords brush the hoarfrost flowers of the barbarians' country. The Jade Pass has not yet been forced. Our soldiers hold it strongly. Therefore the young married women may cease their lamentations. The heavenly soldiers are returning from the sterile plains of the north, because the barbarians desired their horses to drink of the streams of the south. Therefore were our spears held level to the charge. In 100 fights, in straight battle our soldiers fought, to gain the supreme gratitude of the Most High Emperor. They seized the snow of the inland sea and devoured it in their terrible hunger. They lay on the sand at the top of the dragon mound and slept. All this they bore that the Moon Clan might be destroyed. Now indeed have they won the right to the soft, high bed of peace. It is their just portion. The battle to the south of the city. By Li Bai. How dim the battlefield, as yellow dusk. The fighting men are like a swarm of ants. The air is thick, the sun a red wheel. Blood dyes the wild chrysanthemums purple. Vultures hold the flesh of men in their mouths. They are heavy with food, they cannot rise to fly. There were men yesterday on the city wall. There are ghosts today below the city wall. Colors of flags like a net of stars. Rolling of horse-carried drums, not yet is the killing ended. From the house of the unworthy one, a husband, sons. All within earshot of the rolling horse drums. The lonely wife. By Li Bai. The mist is thick. On the wide river, the water plants float smoothly. No letters come, none go. There is only the moon, shining through the clouds of a hard, jade-green sky. Looking down at us so far divided, so anxiously apart. All day, going about my affairs, I suffer and grieve, and press the thought of you closely to my heart. My eyebrows are locked in sorrow, I cannot separate them. Nightly, I keep ready half the quilt, and wait for the return of that divine dream which is my lord. Beneath the quilt of the firebird, on the bed of the silver-crested love pheasant. Nightly, I drowse alone. The red candles in the silver candlesticks melt, and the wax runs from them. As the tears of your so unworthy one escape and continue constantly to flow. A flower face endures but a short season. Yet still he drifts along the river Siao and the river Xian. As I toss on my pillow, I hear the cold, nostalgic sound of the water clock. Shine. It drips, cutting my heart in two. I rise at dawn. In the hall of pictures. They come and tell me that the snowflowers are falling. The reed blind is rolled high, and I gaze at the beautiful, glittering, primeval snow. whitening the distance, confusing the stone steps and the courtyard. The air is filled with its shining, it blows far out like the smoke of a furnace. The grass blades are cold and white, like jade girdle pendants. Surely the immortals in heaven must be crazy with wine to cause such disorder. Seizing the white clouds, crumpling them up, destroying them. An old house unroofed by an autumn gale. By Du Fu. The roof of my house has been blown away. By the fiercest of autumn winds today. It was merely of grass and branches built. Yet my only shelter save a wadded quilt. Across the river it scurried and whirled. In tangled tufts, by the hurricane hurled. Ascending in gusts till caught by the trees. Or falling in ponds and on furrowed leas. In great delight the village urchins shout. And say I'm old and cannot run about. And now before my face the rogues begin. To steal things, and then run away and grin. At last I drive them off and hobble back. To find my home is shelterless, alack. My lips are parched, my tongue is stiff and dry. My strength is gone, I can but rest and sigh. The wind has slackened but dark clouds affright. And wintry is the fast approaching night. My bed is worn and hard, my clothing spare. I cannot sleep for pain and anxious care. The rain still drizzles through the rafters high. Tween which I see the drifting stormy sky. And everything is damp and comfortless. What can be done to lighten such distress? Oh, would there were a mansion of delight. 100 million rooms both fair and bright. To shelter all the poor beneath the skies. And give the joy which lasting peace supplies. Could I but see this mansion rise sublime. Before my eyes at this, or any time. My house and life to lose I'd be content. Could such great blessing to the world be sent. The Swallow's Song. By Emperor Wen of Wei. The autumn winds are blowing. The air is cool and drear. The forest leaves are falling. The grass is scant and sere. The dew to hoarfrost changes. And swallows southward fly. While from the north in batches. The wild swan cloud the sky. And I such signs discerning. Think of you, husband dear. And long for your homecoming. From marches long and drear. Why do you longer tarry? In such a distant place. Think of my lonely vigils. Sad thoughts and tear-stained face. The harp I often finger. And try to sing a song. But soon I sigh and falter. And for your coming long. The moon's pure light is shining. Upon my lonely bed. The star streams westward flowing. The night is not far sped. The cowherd and the spinning girl. Lament the doom that bars. The meeting of true lovers. Across the stream of stars. What folly did they ponder? To meet so dire a fate. I wonder if we also are doomed to trial as great. A soldier's farewell to his wife. By Su Wu. My dear wife, you and I have been as one. No doubt has marred the faith, which love has won. Our chief desire throughout the married state has been of love and joy to give and take. But now, alas, the joy of spring departs. And sorrow's shafts must enter both our hearts. I cannot sleep, I must arise and see. The time, ah me, how quick the hours do flee. Awake, my dearest, for the stars have set. The grief of parting must be bravely met. And yet the dreary marches wait my mind. As through defile and desert plains they win. And then, at last, the awful battlefield. Where I must fight and not to foemen yield. But, oh! The bitter, paralyzing pain. To think that we may never meet again. I must let fall the long restrained tears. As, clasping hands, you calm my anxious fears. If not, My heart will break with sighs repressed, to hear your love so tenderly confessed. But courage, we will think of young love's day, and all the pleasures which therein did stay. And this shall cheer me on the toilsome road, and help you here to bear your weary load. Then with what joy we shall renew our life, when I return safe from the dreadful strife. But if, alas, the fates should death decree, my spirit shall forever live with thee. The wanderers return. By Du Fu, the setting sun beneath the red-lined clouds, which mass around the foothills in the west, still floods the valley with a rose-hued light, and lures the chirping birds to seek their rest. The way-worn traveler pauses near the gate, from which he sallied forth so long ago, unconscious then of what fate held in store. The years of separation, loss, and woe. The neighbors press around the garden fence, and gaze with mouth agape, or quietly sigh, while wife and children awestruck, rigid stand. And then tears flow and to his arms they fly. For years on revolution's waves I've tossed, while wife and bairns mourned me in hopeless plight. And now tonight, as in a dream, I sit, with all my loved ones, 'neath the lamp's bright light. The Red Flower Pear-Tree, by Ouyang Xiu. Posted to a distant mountain region. The old Langquan, grown grey in honest work, oft wandered through the valleys rough and dreary, in search of treasures which might therein lurk. One day, growing in a sheltered corner, he found a red-flowered pear-tree in full bloom, and before it stood transfixed with wonder, as when a dazzling brightness shines through gloom, wondering how so fair a plant could flourish, away from genial clime and native earth, circled by 1,000 mist-clad mountains, and far from fragrant trees of kindred birth. High its beauty-laden branches rising, above the gaudy brambles trailing there, standing lonely in its perfect grandeur, with none, alas, to view the picture rare, save the vernal breeze which strips its blossoms, and blows them open, year by year, again, o'er the feathered tribes of mountain ranges, in search of shelter from the mist or rain, showing it has braved the storms for ages. Its roots are curved and knotted with the fight, yet the Langquan is the first of mankind to look with pleasure on so fair a sight. Drinking in the wealth of dewy fragrance, he walked around the tree for many hours, but held by reverential love and wonder, he durst not raise a hand to pluck the flowers. To himself the old man murmured gently, "I wish I could remove the tree from here, to grace the garden of the king's domain, and find a royal consort for its peer. Such a task, alas, would be much harder than the long and toilsome journey of Chant, when he brought the beautiful pomegranate from western regions to the land of Han. Night on the Lake, by Su Tongpa. The breeze is sighing through the water grass, as up and down the narrow deck I pass, and through the rarest mist of autumn night, the rain moon floods the lake with pallid light. The boatman and the waterfowl sleep sound, and in their dreams see other worlds around. The big fish startled sneak in haste away, as flurried fox flees from the dawning day. In depths of night it seems the human soul, its sway o'er other things has lost control. I and my shadow play upon the strand that marks the boundary of the silent land. We watch the secret tides in noiseless work, forming new isles where earthworms safely lurk. And on the moon, a monstrous pearl, we gaze, looming through willow trees in silver haze. Amidst our life of changing grief and woe, a glimpse of purer worlds will come and go, as on this lake when nature's holy power speaks to us in the dark and silent hour. But hark, the cock crows, rings the temple bell, And birds awake in mountain, plain, and dell. The guard ship beats its drum, the boats unmoor. While din and shouting on the hearer pour. Battle by Chu Yuan. We grasp our battle spears, we don our breastplates of hide. The axles of our chariots touch, our short swords meet. Standards obscure the sun, the foe roll up like clouds. Arrows fall thick, the warriors press forward. They menace our ranks, they break our line. The left-hand trace horse is dead, the one on the right is smitten. The fallen horses block our wheels, they impede the yoke horses. They grasp their jade drumsticks, they beat the sounding drums. Heaven decrees their fall, the dread powers are angry. The warriors are all dead, they lie on the moor field. They issued but shall not enter, they went but shall not return. The plains are flat and wide, the way home is long. Their swords lie beside them, their black bows, in their hand. Though their limbs were torn, their hearts could not be repressed. They were more than brave, they were inspired with the spirit of Wu. Steadfast to the end, they could not be daunted. Their bodies were stricken, but their souls have taken immortality. Captains among the ghosts, heroes among the dead. The Autumn Wind by Emperor Wu of Han. Autumn wind rises, white clouds fly. Grass and trees wither, geese go south. Orchids all in bloom, chrysanthemums smell sweet. I think of my lovely lady, I never can forget. Floating pagoda boat crosses Fan River. Across the midstream white waves rise. Flute and drum keep time to sound of the rower's song. Amidst revel and feasting, sad thoughts come. Youth's years how few. Age how sure. Poems by Tao Yuanming. Shady, shady the wood in front of the hall. At midsummer full of calm shadows. The south wind follows summer's train. With its eddying puffs it blows open my coat. I am free from ties and can live a life of retirement. When I rise from sleep, I play with books and harp. The lettuce in the garden still grows moist. Of last year's grain there is always plenty left. Self-support should maintain strict limits. More than enough is not what I want. I grind millet and make good wine. When the wine is heated, I pour it out for myself. My little children are playing at my side. Learning to talk, they babble unformed sounds. These things have made me happy again. And I forget my lost cap of office. Distant, distant I gaze at the white clouds. With a deep yearning I think of the sages of antiquity. In the quiet of the morning I heard a knock at my door. I threw on my clothes and opened it myself. I asked who it was who had come so early to see me. He said he was a peasant, coming with good intent. He brought a present of wine and rice soup. Believing that I had fallen on evil days. You live in rags under a thatched roof. And seem to have no desire for a better lot. The rest of mankind have all the same ambitions. You, too, must learn to wallow in their mire. Old man, I am impressed by what you say. But my soul is not fashioned like other men's. To drive in their rut I might perhaps learn. To be untrue to myself could only lead to muddle. Let us drink and enjoy together the wine you have brought. For my course is set and cannot now be altered. A long time ago, I went on a journey. Right to the corner of the Eastern Ocean. The road there was long and winding, and stormy waves barred my path. What made me go this way? Hunger drove me into the world. I tried hard to fill my belly, and even a little seemed a lot. But this was clearly a bad bargain. So I went home and lived in idleness. Boating in Autumn by Lu Yu. Away and away I sail in my light boat. My heart leaps with a great gust of joy. Through the leafless branches I see the temple in the wood. Over the dwindling stream the stone bridge towers. Down the grassy lanes sheep and oxen pass. In the misty village cranes and magpies cry. Back in my home I drink a cup of wine, and need not fear the greed of the evening wind. The emperors return from a journey to the south. By Zhengming. Like a saint, he comes. The most noble. In his lacquered state chariot. He awes the 100 living things. He is clouded with the purple smoke of incense. A round umbrella protects the sun of heaven. Exquisite is the beauty of the two-edged swords, of the chariots, of the star-embroidered shoes of the attendants. The sun and moon fans are borne before him, and he is preceded by sharp spears, and the blowing brightness of innumerable flags. The spring wind proclaims the emperor's return, binding the 10,000 districts together in a chord harmony of peace and satisfaction, so that the white-haired old men and the multitudes rejoice. And I wish to add my ode in praise of perfect peace. Reflections by Chant. The foliage of the lilies in the spring, in glowing freshness shows its vernal birth, while in the autumn cassia blossoms bright renew the beauty of the fading earth. In seasons such as these our hearts rejoice, and deeper thoughts arise within the mind, as nature woos us in a tender mood, and teaches lessons that are true and kind. Who would not be as grass and flowers and trees, that denizen the forest and the hill, and listening to the music of the winds, with sympathy and mutual gladness thrill? For flowers have nature's teaching them to live in sweet content in glen, or glade, or field. By plucking them fair women cannot add aught to the happiness their own lives yield. On the birth of his son, by Su Tongpa. Families, when a child is born, want it to be intelligent. I, through intelligence, having wrecked my whole life, only hope the baby will prove ignorant and stupid. Then he will crown a tranquil life by becoming a cabinet minister.